Obviously, it's just amazing to me that the season has already wrapped up, the regular season. It doesn't seem that long ago we were at crossover at Kinnick, and now, here we are getting ready for the Big Ten tournament. Very excited to have the double bye, and that we'll be playing the winner of Wisconsin versus Penn State on Friday night. This tournament concerns me a little bit just because how consolidated it is. For example, our game's at 5:30 on Friday, and if we would win, that game's at like 3:30 on Saturday, and if we would win, that game's at 11 o'clock on Sunday, but that's 10 o'clock because of daylight savings time. We've played some early games, but never a 10 o'clock game. So that's going to be interesting. Both teams obviously will be in the same boat, but we just hope to make it there. I am concerned just for all the players' safety about it being so consolidated with the times of this tournament. But first things first is the Wisconsin versus Penn State game. We're 3-0 against both those teams. We'll prepare for them. At this time of year, you really know your scouts. I mean, you know your opponents pretty well. And you don't have much time to work on your scout. It really has to become more mental scout than anything else. Also, obviously, want to congratulate Caitlin on being the 3-time Player of the Year. That's an amazing accomplishment, and also for Hannah Stolke and Kate Martin to be second team All Big Ten. The only one I was a little disappointed with, I thought Sid would get 6th Player of the Year. I thought she was very deserving of that. I'm disappointed with that one, but at the same time, very happy with the 3 women that we had recognized.
Can you tell us more about Molly's situation?
Well, I'm not sure how much I can get into it, but basically it's not a torn ACL, and it will not require surgery. But, has she been in here? Did she talk to anybody yet or anything? Okay. I just have to be careful because of medically things you're not supposed to talk too much about. So I'll just have to say it was a knee injury, but it wasn't a ligament damage. We'll say that. It's not going to require surgery, but she will not be able to play this week.
You said last night it was a kneecap. So
yeah.
Something involving that, okay.
Caitlin said, go ahead.
I was just say how she's been since Sunday.
I haven't even seen her. I've only talked to her on the phone. We have our first practice today. But I've only spoken with her on the phone, and she was ecstatic that it wasn't an ACL.
Caitlin mentioned on Sunday that, when Molly goes down like that, obviously it's tough to see, but it kind of, as a player, gives you a boost of energy. You want to go win the game for Molly. Is it kind of similar when the team finds out that she's not done for the season? Is that kind of another boost of energy in a different way?
Yeah. Boy, I wish I could say it was a boost of energy for me on Sunday, and it wasn't. You see your players get hurt. It's gut-wrenching to me, and it just, I'm kind of, my head is spinning at that point, trying to think of, long-term consequences for that, not just that singular game. So, but certainly we were everybody is so excited on our team, when they heard that news. And nobody, not just because she, hopefully will return for the NCAA tournament, but also that she doesn't have to go through surgery and go through that rehab.
Does that probably mean Sid moves into the starting lineup and probably Kylie and Taylor move up a bit minutes?
That's correct. Yeah.
Was Molly planning to keep playing after she left here?
I think that Molly was a person that would like to play, but it's not as easy for her position to get something overseas.
I didn't know if this was. She was debating on, these being the last games of her life in a way that kind of adds another wrinkle to the whole thing.
Yeah, you're right, it does.
You guys have had a lot of success recently in the month of March, specifically the Big Ten tournament. Is there a reason for that? You always say that your teams play the best towards the end of the season. Do you feel like there's kind of something that sticks out about why you guys play so well at this time of year?
No, I'm not sure. I feel like, they feel good about it, right? And if you feel good about something, it usually helps you, right? Mentally, if you think you can do it and you've done it before and you can, use that memory, I think it just helps you psychologically.
In the month of March last year, Gabby Marshall shot 41% from 3. She really provided an extra spark. When she's hitting shots, what does that do for your team?
It's totally different, and she's made 4 threes in the past 2 games each, and so she's shooting the ball really well right now. But Molly provides us more. Obviously, she provides defense for us, but when she hits like that, it just takes the pressure off of Caitlin. It opens up inside for Hannah and our centers, and so it just makes us so much harder to guard.
How important the last couple of years? I mean, 2 years ago you get the win over Michigan here. Last year you get the win over Indiana. Now you get the win over Ohio State. How big are those, regular season huge wins propelling you into the Big Ten tournament?
Thankful that we've had those games at home. I mean, in our environment, and I think we use our environment really well, to propel us and to give us confidence in those situations. And I think when you can win games like that against really good competition at the end of the year, it makes you realize, yeah, you can beat anybody in the Big Ten.
So the Kelsey Plum thing, Lynette Woodard, Pete Maravich, all that stuff's behind now.
Yeah.
Is that, now honestly, was there a little bit of a distraction with that? Is it good to have that all over?
I honestly think her biggest distraction was not that, but making this decision whether to come back or whether to go. I think that's what she struggled with more. You can ask her about that. I feel like everybody knew she was going to get the record. It was just a matter of when, not if. And so the distractions, though, on Sunday were plenty, obviously with, game time here, and then, kind of the star power that was in the gym, and being able to see, the team met Maya Moore before practice, and before the game, and I'm kind of like, oh, geez, let's get our head focused again. But they did a great job of it, even with all the distractions there.
You've talked about how all the experiences of this season, the crowds, the environments, and everything is going to make a big difference this time of year when it's time to transition into that postseason mode. Even for players like Sid and Hannah, who were on the team last year, but their roles are much bigger now. I mean, how much do you kind of feel like the transition into March is going to be relatively smooth from a mental standpoint, just based on, you kind of been playing tournament games all year in a way?
I'm hoping that it's going to serve us well. The environments that we've played in have been hostile. They've been pressure situations. There's been, they've been packed to the gills and a lot of distractions. And so every game has kind of felt like a mini NCAA tournament game for us. And I think that having that experience over and over again will serve us well as we, compete in the tournament.
I know you're thinking one game at a time, but if you guys were to win this tournament 3 in a row, Maryland did it a few years ago, Ohio State in the early 2010s. Would that solidify this era of your team, you think, to win 3 Big Ten championships in a row?
I mean, I think winning 3 Big Ten championships in a row would be tremendous. Is it the only thing that's going to solidify their place in history? I don't think so. I think that they've already done that. With the attention that they've brought to this team, with the crossover, with the national championship game last year. So, yes, we want to win 3 games in 3 days and win the championship, but I don't think it's the end all either.
Go ahead, Sue.
Thank you. What's this week like? What days are you practicing? When do you go up? Do you sort of practice at full bore now, or do you take your foot off the gas because you got possibly 3 games in 3 days?
Yeah, we definitely are not practicing as hard now as we were, say, in October, November, and December, just because the team is a little bit more tired, and you're really not, again, right now, like, I don't even know what scout to prepare for. And so I'm kind of preparing for multiple teams in these practices. But we took yesterday off, and we're going to practice today, and I'm actually taking tomorrow off. That's what we typically do, is take the day two days prior to the game off. And so I'm trying to keep that normal. So then we'll practice Thursday, travel to Minnesota, and watch the 5:30 game of Wisconsin versus Penn State. We'll be in the arena, get a feel for it, watch them live, and then head back to the hotel and start our scout and our meetings.
What do you remember about Penn State?
I remember they drew a lot of fouls. I remember, 58 fouls in the fourth quarter, some crazy number like that? It was not, or 58 foul shots, I believe. I mean, it was nuts. So I just remember that. And I obviously know about Wusu and their press, and, Marissa's a great three-point shooter. So, I mean, they're a good team.
You said you can't believe you're all right at this point, but you've been playing, since the crossover. That's been almost 5 months now. It's a long season. And how has this team been able to, for the most part, stay up all the time? You're 26-4.
Jeff, I'll even take it a step farther back in that we had our foreign trip. And, we had 10 extra practices before our foreign trip, and then we're gone for 2 weeks, and then they come back and start school. And so, it's been a long season, as you say. And I think, when you love what you do and you love the people that you're around, it's a lot easier to go to work every day. If you don't care for people that you're around, it's, you don't want to go in that locker room, but these guys look forward to being together, and they're genuinely excited for each other.
Have you ever had a team like that you didn't look forward to going into the locker room?
If I did, I'm trying to forget about them.
Lisa, when thinking back or going back to the crowds, I'm sorry if you've been asked this before, but the Big Ten tournament is completely sold out, like all sessions, which is pretty nuts the first time.
Yeah.
It's a long way away from 2021 in Indianapolis when you had no one there. Yeah. What was your first reaction when you saw that news? And you've been talking about the big environments you've had, but does that put any additional pressure? Or do you think you're actually more prepared for environments like that?
Oh, I think we're prepared for environments like that. I was surprised when I heard that it was sold out. I don't know how many Iowa fans are going to be there. I would hope a great amount of them are Hawkeye fans. But you never know. You never know until you get there and see. But I'm very excited to get up there and see how much black and gold is. Hopefully we can turn it back into Carver North.
Lisa, right now you guys are kind of projected to be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. Do you have a preference? Do you feel like getting a 1 seed is important, or is it kind of 1-2 just kind of the same when you start? You get a 3 seed or a 4 seed in the Sweet 16. It's kind of the same, right? Or do you have a preference?
No, I don't. I just don't want to be the 5th overall seed, to be quite honest. I don't want to be that 2 seed because, that's a tough go. I think South Carolina's, they're unbelievable right now. To go through the whole season again without a loss and how much they're destroying teams by, it's really impressive. So you just don't want to have that one.
Wouldn't that be the 8th overall seed?
It would be the 8th. You're right. I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah, you're right. It would be the 8th overall seed.
Lisa, going back to Molly for a second. I don't know if it's like a Kate Martin situation where she's totally a coach on the floor, but when she's not playing, this week in particular, I know you said you haven't seen her in person since Sunday, but what does she bring, if anything, to the team when she's just being the encourager?
Yeah, I don't know. Molly's not real boisterous. Molly is a person that doesn't say a lot, but when she says it, it's pretty meaningful. She doesn't just babble. And so I think her being on the sidelines will be more very talking to kids individually, talking to players individually as they come to the bench or into the huddle. She's not a person that's going to give a rah-rah speech or anything like that.
Thanks, Coach Bluter.
Thanks, you. Thank you.
Breaking, it's going to be all Iowa fans there.
Yeah, bro.
I said, you don't have to worry, Lisa. It's going to be all Iowa fans there. I'm not convinced that any of the non-Iowa games are really going to see that big of a difference.
You guys know about this program.
Yeah.
The way the sessions are sold, it is sold per session, right?
Yeah, so
Every
it'd be
single
I think
session
a
is sold out.
session Wednesday would be a session because there's only 2, and then it'd be Thursday session 1 and Thursday session 2.
And then
Friday's 1 and 2.
That's incredible.
Is Saturday just 1?
Well, somebody, they
But,
want to see the big games and they buy them.
Yeah, but you can buy it all. My
Yeah,
dad
you
bought a
could.
whole session ticket because he's coming with me. It was like $130, and so I think a lot of
Actually, it's a bargain.
I think Iowa fans.
I might get a decent amount of Iowa fans and just say, well, I'm here. I'm just going to show up to whatever game.
Well, yeah, but I think what probably happened is when it was back then.
It's kind of up in the air which session she was going to
They were going to be in. They probably just bought the ultimate.
Questions for Sid and Friday?
Who on the team was most hyped about meeting Travis Scott?
I feel like we all were. He said he was going to come last year.
Well, I guess based
First
on their
season.
music choices.
Who would you say listens to Travis Scott the most, probably?
Yeah, like Taylor. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Or Kenise. Yeah. A lot of us. Yeah.
Both of your roles are going to increase, in the wake of the, Molly not being able to play. Just your comments on that as far as, how that changes things for either of you.
Yeah, I mean, Molly's a very crucial part of this team, and me and Kylie stepping in and filling those minutes are going to be super important, and we know that our teammates and coaches are behind us, and we have all the confidence in the world in each other and our team, so we're ready to go.
Will you guys be a point guard? I mean, one of you be a point guard when Caitlin's sitting down?
I think we all can handle the ball, but yeah. I think me and Sid can both kind of say the same thing on this. Whenever there's a position or a role that needs to be, someone has to step up in it, we're more than willing to do so. So no matter what position that is or role that is, we'll do whatever we have to for the team.
Have you played point guard, in high school or anything?
I have in high school, yeah.
Kylie, over the last few games, your contributions have been pretty loud. I think you had 3 threes in the game and a couple in the other one, then 4 steals against Ohio State. Just talk about that stretch of 3 games for you and what you've been playing like.
Yeah, I think kind of going off of what I just said, being able to step up in whatever position I have to and doing whatever I need to help the team. And I'm really just trying to take in and enjoy the last few games with these awesome players. And like I said, doing whatever I have to in order to do that. But yeah, it's been really fun the past few weeks.
Have you always been the kind of person kind of defender that just sort of flies around and gets their hands on the
and
ball?
has no idea what they're doing? Just wander, yeah. Yeah, you could say that. I have a nickname that my AAU coach, he called me Roly Twirly, because even on the offensive end, I'm all over the place and you never really know what I'm doing. But yeah, so I just kind of always try to do whatever I have to, but I'm wandering around a lot. But
Called you a bat from hell after the game?
no, I do that.
No.
No, that was a question.
That was my question.
Sorry. For both of you guys, I know you guys have had March experience and all that, but for all the, emotion and pressure-packed situations that you guys have gone through pretty much every night, do you think that'll make, when you transition now to March in the postseason, kind of an easier, smoother transition, because you guys have, in a way, been playing postseason-esque games pretty much the whole year? Or at least it feels like that from an environment standpoint.
Yeah, I think even throughout practice, we're always kind of preparing for game situations where we know there's not always going to be a wipeout in the game, so preparing for those tight games. And the Ohio State game, the previous games that we've been having, we've had some very close ones where we have to stay focused for all 4 quarters in 40 minutes. So I definitely would say that those have prepped us for this March and what's to come.
Just what, when you see Penn State or Wisconsin, what do you see in either or both of those teams?
I mean, they both played pretty good games against us. I think that's a good matchup for us for our first game. I'm excited to play either team. I'd say Penn State's got a little bit more forceful powers on their team with Ashley Owusu and their point guard. But I'm excited either way.
Sid, there's some social media chatter that you got snubbed out of the 6th Player of the Year. How much will that be motivating in the games ahead?
That's not really a focus. The focus is on this team and the girls and taking it game by game. Awards are more like individual stats, and that's not something that I put my energy and focus on. But
What was your reaction when you found out Molly didn't tear her ACL, that she might even be able to come back and play?
I just really felt for her.
Yeah.
My heart was broken when she fell, and Molly's just such a great player and so important to this team and such an awesome girl. But just being with her every step of the way, that's really hard, no matter what it is when she comes back, and we'll just have her back every step of the way. Yep.
Is it kind of a lift, maybe? I mean, it's kind of an odd sort of thing to say an injury could be a lift, but at least it's not the worst.
Yeah, exactly. I think she's a very tough person, too, and, she's going to be getting as ready as quickly as possible to get back on the court. But, she's just a really strong player, and I think when she texted us in our group chat last night, we were all like, we all instantly were texting like, yay, like, let's go, like all this stuff. So like we were all very happy for her. It's a very big relief.
Curious, do you guys pay attention to like a bracketology, like you're a 2 seed, a 1 seed? What could happen this week could propel you up to a 1 seed? Is that something you think about at all with, the games that are ahead?
I think that's always like in the back of your minds, but our main focus is to take it game by game. We're not focusing on the NCAA tournament until we play 3 games and win on Sunday for the Big Ten tournament. So,
not every team goes into the conference tournament with necessarily a huge. There's some teams that are in the bubble, so they have to win to make the tournament. Some teams, are trying to play to host. I think that's kind of Indiana's situation. You guys know you're in the NCAA tournament. You're going to be hosting. But how much of a motivation is it to try to go win a 3rd straight Big Ten tournament?
Yeah, I think we're just really excited. I mean, we have a lot of momentum kind of going into it, and I think we're all kind of clicking at the right time. This is the same thing that happened last year, I feel like, too. It's like, it's kind of a beautiful thing to see how just throughout the season how much everybody progresses and how our team chemistry just builds even more. So it's just a really exciting time, and we're all really pumped for it.
How does your team do that? Like, we were talking to Lisa earlier about how your team just seems to get better and better in March, even as other teams maybe have fallen off. What is it about your team that is able to get better when the attrition of the season would hurt most teams?
Yeah. I think this is where it gets kind of further outside of basketball. It's the love that we have for each other. I think that really kind of carries out because March, obviously, it's now a few months past since the beginning of the season, and you start to have some wear and tear, your body and whatever, but it's like the chemistry and the love that we have for each other, it's just continues to grow, and that's what pushes us through.
As Coach Bluter about this, 2 years ago you guys beat Michigan in the regular season finale to kind of propel you to that into the Big Ten tournament. Last year was Indiana, this year it's Ohio State. How important are those big wins of really highly rated teams in that last game, just to confidence and momentum into the postseason?
I think it just shows us how good we really are. This team has so much potential, and I really think like the sky's the limit. So getting those wins before entering into postseason is super important and just really builds our confidence.
Were you guys really exhausted after Sunday's game? I mean, the emotion, the sound, it was just like stimulation city.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, you guys are young and in shape, but I mean, it was exhausting for us, but what did you guys think?
I think like sometimes on the court, like we even talk, we're like, we can't even hear ourselves think. Yeah. Like it's crazy, but just all the hype around that game and for our seniors and college game day and the competition, there was a lot going on and it was really exciting, but after it was nice to just relax.
It's not going to get much quieter in Minneapolis. Do you remember, I'm sure last year, the Carver North jokes, do you remember how loud it was? What was your reaction to the tournament being sold out, all the sessions, knowing how many people are going to be watching your game and every other Big Ten game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I wasn't playing, so like from on the bench perspective, I mean, it was just absolutely unreal how loud it got. It's just so fun, especially in this time of the year. It's just like everybody, like I said, is clicking. And I vividly remember Gabby hitting a 3, and it was just absolutely berserk in when we were there. So just things like that. It's just memories that will last forever, but it's unreal.
Yeah, calling it Carver North is so cool. Yeah. The way Hawk fans travel is really amazing. Like we run out and even walking into our game, we see like a sea of black and gold, and it like takes us all back a little bit, and it's just so cool to see all the support that we get game after game.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Give Molly a hug for us.
No.
He was on the television, so I